Dear viewers, welcome to the weekly roundup. It's back to normal, no more gaming shows that I've heard of. There's a Steam sale going on, but I'll just be covering interesting indie games. Thanks for joining another episode, and if you enjoyed this, subscribe. Let's dive in. Starting with reveals and announcements. I wanted to start off with something special, a game called Dordogne. The Dordogne is a French area, a popular holiday location for the Dutch, and I've been there a few times myself. Next to a beautiful location in France, it is also an indie game, which was revealed back in 2020. Since then, it's been on my radar. You're currently watching a painter, and there's a reason for that, because this is the art director Cédric Babouche from French studio Un Je ne sais quoi. He's making 150 of these, and they are making up the backgrounds in this game. This game is apparently about a little girl, Mimi, making her way over to her grandmother's house. I'm not sure this means we might get a bit of Red Riding Hood action with wolves and all, but let's see. Dordogne is a game where art and gaming come together, which is a rare occasion, even within the indie game genre. Games like this deserve our support, I feel. This is why I'm leading with this today. So wishlist it if this interests you. The game releases sometime next year. Anvil Saga, the game that just released into early access, shared their roadmap. If you buy in now, you get 20 days of story mode where you can build out your smithy, interact with your people, craft of course, and receive special customer orders. There's a sandbox mode as well with no limits on the days where you can become the best blacksmith in the region. Looking at the roadmap, all of these features are gradually expanded over time. More days to the story, for a total of 60 days ultimately, including chapter finales, whatever those may be, and the usual stuff you would expect, right? More crafts, more henchmen, more customers, just more of the same basic gameplay loop. What is interesting to me is that this is one of those games that plans for a very short early access period. They hope to release in October this year, and given it is almost July, that should be manageable. I mean, it could be the end of the year, but that's still only a few months of early access for polishing, for content, and then it's just showtime with the full release. I appreciate that, like a clear and concise plan. I'll keep you posted on how this game develops. A Plague's Tale, Requiem, releases October 18th. This is the long-awaited sequel to A Plague's Tale Innocence, a game beloved by many for its stealth puzzle action, gripping storytelling and interesting characters. The sequel takes place 6 months after the first game, expands on features that you would expect, like the puzzles and stealth, but also increases the weapons you can use in a fight. For example, you have a crossbow now to take down armored foes. And Hugo can control entire red armies in a brand new, satisfying and gory animation. The game will be available on day one as well with Game Pass. Superfuse, an absolutely amazing looking indie game, is about to have a closed alpha and you can sign up. This isn't sponsored or anything, link in the description below. I think Superfuse is a super interesting game, a new comic book inspired action RPG. You can take on waves of grotesque minions and bosses with up to 4 friends in co-op, or go at it alone and uncover a vast conspiracy that endangers all of humanity. It is loot driven, offers tons of customization, has procedurally generated levels, a fully voice acted campaign, and fast paced, heart pounding combat, whatever that may mean. Well, look at the screen and you get a sense of what the devs are going for. In fall this year, early access should start. I also made an extensive preview on the main channel for this game, so check that out. Sir Whoopass, a game with one of the funniest trailers out there, I feel, finally has a release date, end of August this year. This game seems to have been in development for ages, although it's only been 2.5 years. Part of the reason that it seems this way is that the developers don't communicate that often, and long silences give me the perception not much is happening. But that is fortunately not true, as the devs declared in a post that the game is finally in a playable state, and more importantly, that it's fun. And if you'd ask me what sort of game this is, I honestly couldn't tell you, nor can Steam. It seems like a parody on third-person action games like The Witcher maybe, or Alex. The description really doesn't mention anything. I guess we'll see because August isn't too far out. It's teaser time, a mix of super small updates or teasers that I wanted to share. I only got 2 this week. Here is Codename Vitriol. They released a trailer for this deep, morally ambiguous, narrative-driven RPG. Here it is.
There's more than meets the eye.
Zero Sievert, a post-apocalyptic game with procedurally generated maps, loot and missions, was supposed to release in Q3 of this year, but it has been postponed to Q4. Proceeding with the patch Plaza, bringing an overview of patch news. Anvil Season 2 is live, which means more stuff to grind, new relics to unlock and the end of a pay-to-win battle pass. All of this is good news because the gameplay, levels and bosses are actually a lot of fun despite this thing being in early access. Achilles Legends Untold released a new patch, bringing a new Game Plus mode, adding another challenge after finishing the early access game. There is an attack at cursor mode, making Achilles strike in the cursor direction. The keys for sprinting and dodging can now be bound separately. It was the same key before, which is a little bit annoying of course. Furthermore, target locking is improved, collision issues are gone, attacks should feel more satisfying and there's improved visibility of enemies hiding behind the terrain by a red silhouette. Everyone's favorite indie game, Vampire Survivors, released another patch of course, containing 6 new achievements, 1 new character, 1 new weapon, 2 new arcanas, 1 minor relic to change character appearance and maximum active weapons per run, and 1 minor relic to show discovered unions and evolutions during a run. Spellmaster the Saga, the game that's in early access but still hasn't realized that, released patch 0.8.5, bringing performance improvements, fixes, reduced memory consumption, a spider cave, new types of clothes and weapons, a complete weapon rebalance, nerfed enemies, and they adjusted the difficulty balance of the easy level. I played this game when it was fully released and it was a hot mess. I'll visit this again someday and see how it fares. It's good to see it's still getting updates at least. And this is a game I haven't played in a good while and I really should return, but Chronicon had another big patch, 1.40.0. In short, here's what's got added: 27 new elixirs, and to be honest, I don't even know what these are, so I'm just going to list a few things. Hopefully you know what this means. 21 new vials, injectors are added, allowing you to use all your elixirs at once. Sounds like overdosing to me, but okay. A launcher got added, allowing you to launch all your vials at once. Classes have been reworked as well as the UI, performance has been increased, and of course there are many bug fixes as you would expect with a patch like this. Diplomacy is not an option, released patch 0.9.48, bringing an update to the Endless mode. This update is called the Challenge mode and it has different difficulty settings, different scenarios and different challenges for you to complete. Performance has been improved, a photo mode got added, attempts have been made to reduce micromanagement by allowing mass recruitment of troops and repeating the last marketplace orders, and that is mostly it. Steam users are loving this strategy game so far, rating it an 86% with thousands of reviews. It's still in early access, looks very promising. Then releases, looking back at what released last week. Anvil Saga is a management sim with RPG elements where you take control of a blacksmith shop amidst the 100 Years' War. It's in early access right now and launched in a broken state because save games would get deleted. After a day there was a hotfix. The game should be all fine now and ratings reflect that. 84% of players are enjoying the game, so that's a successful launch I would say. But then yesterday another hotfix destroyed a bunch of save files when it got rolled back. In short, this game is probably worth it, but maybe wait until the devs get their hotfixes together, because right now they're creating more hot messes than hot fixes. Legend of Keepers released their last DLC, Soul Smugglers, on June 20th. There's 1 new master, new enemies, new heroes, the whole shebang. Downloadable content on Steam isn't really individually rated, so it's hard to say, but I love this game and I'm confident this one is good. Let's look ahead at what is releasing this week. The long-awaited Alaloth Champions of the Four Kingdoms releases June 30th. It will start in early access and I'm really hoping this game is going to be good. I like the premise of this, a real-time action game, isometric view, and it has these old Baldur's Gate vibes, but with a modern twist because they dropped the turn-based action. And I hope the devs, who seem to be a bunch of passionate people here, get the break they deserve and that the game launches well. Cuphead released a DLC, The Delicious Last Course, on June 30th. This means more impossible side-scrolling levels in beautifully hand-drafted worlds, trying to defeat bosses with surgical precision. Not for the faint of heart, but mostly a must-buy for any fans of the game or the genre. More DLCs are in the making because Outriders Worldslayer, also releasing June 30th. You'll be taking on a new boss, Ereshkigal, and you can level to level 30. There are of course new weapons and new enemies, new endgame, and just overall a ton of new stuff to do, hopefully. When I played Outriders, well after its horrible release, I thought it was a very solid game. Hopefully the DLC can expand on an already interesting world while you do some slaying as well. This week's sort of free games, because I'm Dutch and I'm cheap. Epic has two offerings: A Game of Thrones, the board game digital edition, which is the digital adaptation of the top-selling strategy board game from Fantasy Flight Games, and Car Mechanics Simulator 2018, which I think is a rather self-explanatory title. Next week, Epic offers Gene Force 1 Mutagen, a unique open-ended fantasy RPG in an alien land. Use battle or cunning to change the world, served by your army of custom-made mutant monsters. And then a very cool title, also available next week, Eratis Lord of the Dead, a turn-based tactical roguelite RPG set in a dark fantasy universe. Lead an army of undead to help an angry necromancer in his quest to reach the surface world and bring death to the mortal realms. This is a very highly rated game, it should be good. I never played it though. Uncle Phil from Game Pass has 3 games as well that were just released. You can unleash the inner strategist in you with Total War 3 Kingdoms. If you want to do some PvP slashing battle royale in an Asian fighting style, there is Naraka Blade Point that entered full release last week after spending a good while in the early access of it. And finally FIFA 22. The most that gives you is a gambling addiction. Time for some personal updates. What have I been up to? Nothing major. Trying to get my house sort of heat-proof, which I've not been too successful at just yet. There's also a big chance I'll be at a festival next weekend for 3 full days, watching live bands and all, which means probably no roundup next week or later. But I think just no roundup. And that's it. If you have any questions or remarks or suggestions, put them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did and you want more like this, consider liking the video or even subscribing. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. Love you all, see you soon, bye bye.